hello. Hi. I'm not Ryan. I am not Ryan Selvey, but this is the File News Show, and I am Wade Acuff. I'm going to be your host today. We got a lot to get to. There's a lot of news in this one. I want to say a real quick hello to chat. What's up, chat? How's it going, Adara? How are you? I see Christelle, Helena, Marsha. What's up? All right, let's get rolling. We've got some news to get through. Let's see what's happening. We've got, let's see what's happening in the news. You know, you may have missed it, or maybe you wanted to miss it, but last Monday was Cyber Monday, but there's still some deals going on, specifically for this huge half-price deal on Photoshop, Premiere Pro, and Illustrator. You can go and check that out. This on Creative Blog, they have a little listing for this. Yeah, I mean, it's a great time for saving. I'm not a big fan of getting into the commercialism part of the year, but man, when there are savings that can save you in the long run, I'm all about it. What's up, Oliver? I'm seeing Oliver pop in. Clever over on YouTube. Yes, we're on YouTube as well, so be sure and check it out over there. As sticking with this, Polygon has created a list of Cyber Monday deals you can still get. So if you missed anything, if there's, possibly that thing you're looking for that might still be on sale, they do have a list. I'm not going to go through this stuff. I just wanted to kind of throw it out there. Oh no, the video. Look at this. Okay. I knew this might happen. It happened last time. So I've got to make sure I'm activating this. There we go. Okay. So the news is still happening. Let me just refresh on this. So yeah, Cyber Monday deals you can still get. I did find this to be really cool. You guys are familiar with Fabiola Lara. I noticed over on her Instagram, this was like a week or so ago, she posted a story that had something about like, these are the things I use. And she went ahead and started asking people if there's anything you want or in the, looking for as a creator, go and, ask me a question. Just ask me tell me what you're looking for. I'll try to find something that fits. And from that, she made gift guides for artists. There's part 1 and part 2, and they go through for the coffee shop sketcher. You've got pens and art supplies and all kinds of stuff. The cozy artist. Yeah. I immediately think of Cody Bear when I think of cozy. So yeah, that would work. The burnout artist. I love that there's a tunnel brace for those repetitive motion injuries. That we're all trying to avoid. And yeah, you can comment if you'd like. There's a part 2 as well. This is for the part-time artist. And this is for the iPad artist, which we'll talk a little bit about iPad options in a moment. Or pins, I should say, in a moment. Studio Vlogger. I think it was a really cool idea. So go check those out. There's details in that as well. Now, some of you may have heard of Blue Sky. This was originally, I think, in the, this was like a Hyperlinks, I believe. But I moved it up since we were talking about Blue Sky. This is a Blue Sky counter. It's counting new users in real time. So we've got, it tells you a growth rate. This is one right now. We are at 1.76 users per second. That's kind of fast. And it'll tell you too, there's been, tells you the update. It'll tell you how many users were added since the last update. But this just heads off a section. We're going to be talking about Blue Sky for a moment because unfortunately there's some news. Blue Sky continues to exponentially grow. The idea of open protocol ran into its first issue last week. Due to the nature of the open protocol, the idea of a private account can't currently exist. So someone scraped the service and trained a model off of the data. Blue Sky has said that it can't moderate, it can't police beyond their platform, but they are looking at ways to make profiles private. Since the backlash, the user who trained the model off the data had since deleted their upload. So, it's a new-ish platform, and it's open protocol, so someone just helped themselves the data. Not a good thing, but you know. But also in more Blue Sky news, keeping on the topic of Blue Sky, Paul says they have a Blue Sky account. Excellent. Yeah, I just recently started one. But more news in Blue Sky is having to confront the challenge of verifying identity. I find this one to be pretty interesting. You can find, before I forget, you can find all of these links in the Raindrop link. I believe that's in the description. Some of these links will be updated after. They're not currently provided. But if you want to go back and check them out, you can. But anyway, back to Blue Sky. They're trying to figure out how to verify. Blue Sky envisions a system where multiple verification providers exist to serve the needs of the broader community. I kind of like this idea. What that means is like, it may not be Blue Sky, but it may be somewhere else, like another platform or another something that says this user is this user. And the one way they're doing this is, I guess the current way they're doing this to verify your account is to have a custom domain name. And that makes sense because if you own a website, you have your own domain. It's probably you that is linked to your domain. That would be the assumption. So that's one way of verifying. That was introduced last year. But yeah, it's going to be interesting going forward just to see how they're going to do this. Other platforms do the like pay to play sort of like, oh, you want to pay for this? You're probably verified. You're probably the person paying for it. So, it's always changing and always moving. But things that aren't, discussing things that are changing or not changing. Twitch apparently is still the king of the castle. This is from Tube Filter, and Sam Guttel reports that Stream Hatchet has compiled the data from the last quarter to say that Twitch still owns like 82% of the streaming landscape. I was actually kind of surprised by this. The fact that YouTube gaming doesn't have, I know that YouTube is typically seen as someone puts out a video a week or every few days or something like that. And not necessarily streaming live, but I was kind of surprised that Twitch is still, heading off all of the other competitors. Let's see what it says here. Amazing how much Twitch is maintaining its lead, even though the competitors are making small gains. Do they have to verify how old the user are? No. I don't believe there was. I don't remember. It's been a minute. How's it going, Peter? Good to see you. Let's see. Moving right along from Twitch to TikTok. Now, this is interesting. TikTok will block beauty filters for teens over mental health concerns. TikTok is placing age restrictions on some of its beauty filters to address concerns about how they impact the mental health of its teenage users. It's going to prevent the 18 and under crowd from using them, but it says age restrictions won't apply to filter effects that are, quote, designed to be obvious and funny, end quote. I don't really know how what that hard line is going to be, but it's kind of interesting coming on the heels of the Australian under 16 ban for all social media. So it looks like maybe places are starting to lock down some of these things that might be a little bit more harmful than they even considered, or if they in fact were ever considered until they became harmful. That's probably the case, but those are my own opinions. Let's see if we got any comments on that. All right, so moving right along. Okay, so this one is for you artists, print and designers out there. The Print Awards are having an open call for entries, and the first deadline is quickly approaching. Celebrating its 45th year, the Print Awards celebrate design in every shape and form. The 2025 Print Awards offer 28 categories for entries ranging from illustration to motion design and video. This year, this is kind of a new thing. The jury will also be considering entries in social media and content design, as well as title sequence design and graphic novels. The first deadline, let's take a look at the rates and deadlines here. So the rates and deadline, this is really there's early deadline here. The student price never changes, 85. But then if you do it now, if you enter now, you're at almost a $200 price point, and that just goes up for the regular, late, and final deadlines. But I think it's important to notice the citizen design that doesn't have a fee. Citizen design is open to designers who have created print, online, and community-based campaigns designed to address issues of social justice. Excuse me. So if you have done any of those things, any of the print that addresses issues of social justice, you can enter for free. The fee is waived. So good to note on that. We've got a little bit of Apple news. Let's see. Oh yeah, so Apple news. We'll just make this real quick. They announced their finalists for Best Apps of the Year. This includes gaming apps as well. Lightroom was nominated for the Best Creative App for its enhancing photo editing process with AI-powered features. I think that's pretty cool. Congrats, Lightroom crew. That's really, really awesome. But I don't know. There's other stuff in there too if you want to look up just the other apps. I was only concerned with the Lightroom. Thought that was a fun little note. And let's take a look inward, everyone. Just take a look at ourselves. And what I mean by that, I mean over on Behance. Today we started off with Motion Design Hotline, and then we had Sin Lagos, Drawing a Blank with Cody Bear and Val, which I just watched. Super entertaining. And Office Hours is coming up after this. But we do have a special message from our pals over at Motion Design Hotline. And I'm just going to play this for you guys because, they can say it better than I can. Or we'll just see if it plays.
Hello, everybody, and this week, the Motion Design Hotline has a fabulous event for you. That's right, an event about events.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's very on brand for us. We're taking our After Effects work and getting it off the small screen onto really big screens, sometimes with very weird dimensions, helping you think about the different contexts that you can work in when you're working for venues, concerts, live events, sporting events, anything like that.
Tune in the past, I guess. Check that out in the past. But you can check out all of our shows if you wish. MotionDesignHotline.com for an archive of all the great stuff. But enjoy it here on Adobe Live. Hello, everybody, and
thank you, Evan and Kyle. Appreciate it. So go check that out if you hadn't. That was today's episode, and we're going to be moving on to resources. Let's do it. Okay, very important here. Are you guys thinking of going freelance in 2025? Well, if you are, we've got some steps for you. This is a nice little write-up from Tom May over on Creative Boom. And it goes through a bunch of the steps that you may have not thought about if you're thinking about going freelance. And I'm not going to go through all of them. I'll put a little anecdotal stuff here. But the first step, building a financial foundation. This is kind of the idea. It's give yourself some runway. Have some savings a little if you can. Build up a little savings for when you're trying to find clients at the beginning of going freelance, or trying to lock down a working routine. Those things you may be a little slower with the work, so make sure you have a little bit of foundation. Price your work strategically. So this one, I could talk for a while on this. They have their own take on it. Mine is very similar. You got to know what your worth is and do not undervalue yourself. If you think, oh, I'm going to take these at cut rates, that client thinks that's your rate. That client, if you do work for free or at a cut rate, you have set the precedent that is what your work is worth, and it will be harder to set the correct that rate. It's just the nature of it. You want to know what your worth is so that you can go ahead and right out of the gate, get them on the same page with you as you move along. And another thing you can do, especially for pricing, if you don't want to charge a day rate or an hourly rate, do a project pricing. And if you, even better, if you can get their budget or know their budget, provide them 2 to 3 service levels, like the top tier. Here's all the services I'm going to provide. And then you cut some of those services for the lower rate. And that can be things like how many revisions you get or how many the client gets. It can be all sorts of things depending on what you offer. So yeah, that's it's important to know your worth. Schedule time to generate leads. This I consider this just part of the freelance work time. Anytime you're kind of looking at projects or anything that you're like, hey, I'd like to work on this thing, or figure out what your end goal is for generating leads, or how you're doing that. That is all just still time that I consider part of the workday. It's talking about here, word of mouth is good. That is a good way to generate leads. I will sometimes answer calls. Like if someone says, hey, I'm looking for blah, 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 I will reach out to them and say, what does it entail? What does this, look like? Going for, like, what are the needs for this job? And if I'm not the one, like if I know, even when I'm reaching out, that I am not the one that I'm not going to be taking this job, I will still inquire about it, because there might be somebody else that I know would be good at it. And I will then either point the client to them, or the person I know to the client. And that sometimes will help you, like maybe the next time they need something, they will think of you if it's your line of work. It's just a good way to kind of keep that going. That falls into building up your support network as well. That's also a good thing to have, to bounce ideas off of other people. When you're freelancing, you normally don't have an office or a studio that with others. So make sure you have that going on. Let's see. Talking about, the worth is a tough topic. Yeah. Just kind of looking in on chat, seeing what chat has to say about it. Embrace the ups and downs. There will be times you're flying high, and there will be times where you're, digging for work. That's just the nature of it. And sometimes all the work hits at once. Back in August, September, October of this year, I had that. I had a lot of stuff that was manageable, but it was just a lot of things all happening at once. Establishing clear boundaries. This one's a definite yes, you have to do that. But it varies over time. Say you always want to limit, you can limit communications. You can, set your work parameters for the project. But you can also ease those off. If it's a client that you've worked with now for, several years, and it's almost like you're on friendly working terms, it's all business still, but at the same time, you can trust they're not going to waste your time. And likewise, you're not going to waste their time. So if they want to call at an odd time or something like that, and that's something you've both discussed, that, you can change that, per client. If you have a working relationship, that can change some of those boundaries. Be a nice person. I mean, it sounds simple. I think it comes easier for some than others. But it's most importantly making sure the client feels comfortable with you. But also at the same time, sometimes the client and your personalities may not match or whatever, but you kind of know early. Like, you may work one job and you're like, didn't work out, but you can always end on good terms. It doesn't have to be, aggressive in any sort of thing. But be a nice person. That's essentially, do you want people to come back for, work with you again? And following on the heels of all of that, we have a little bit more, I guess it's sort of freelance stuff here. How to wrap up creative work like a pro before the holidays. Now, I looked at this first and I was like, I don't think I meet hardly any of these in this checklist. Be nice, shout out. Okay. Let's see. I have to be nice. No one said you had to be nice. That's the thing. You don't have to. It's a choice. But moving on to this, I never had an issue wrapping up work. I think all this is a guide. As I read through it, you do need to set your priorities for the new year. That's kind of where I take a lot of this guide. It's like, what do I need to finish up now so that when I start the new year, it's just simple. Everything's already in place. So they start with ruthless prioritization. And it's things like create a comprehensive list of ongoing projects. And then you just put everything in order as you need to do them. This is again, set crystal clear client expectation. This is all about communication. This is just sort of in what we were just talking about. Setting limits, you can do that around the holidays as well. This one suggests sending detailed holiday available email to clients, update your email signature with out of office dates, establish a clear-cut date for new project inquiries, and setting up automatic email responder, explaining your holiday schedule. I don't know that that's like maybe the wording is a little off there. I don't know about explaining your holiday schedule, but if you just say in and out dates, that's probably good enough. Leverage checklists and automation. That's sort of part of the step one. This one's talking more about creating a comprehensive project completion checklist, like the things you need to do. If a project is continuing when you pick back up, make sure you have everything set out for the new year. I can see how that would be a huge bonus as you come back into it. Let's see. Digital housekeeping. Okay, this one for me this one kind of hits close to home because this is something I do as far as like moving files around and cleaning up storage, organizing cloud documents. I have a bunch of cloud documents where I start things throughout the year. Like I want a list of this, or I want to, whatever. And I will go through them and be like, that's not happening. Sometimes I trash them. Sometimes I put them on the back burner. It just depends on what it is. Unsubscribe from unnecessary newsletters. I try to do that immediately. If I have to sign up for a newsletter for something or whatever, I'm out of it. I don't have time. I don't want to deal with any of that stuff. Making sure all your productivity tools are in order, that kind of thing. All right, so there's a whole section on here about mental preparation and self-care, and I'm just going to lump these two together because they kind of go in. I've never had the luxury of reducing my workload incrementally. It's kind of always been like, this project's due, I can get it done before the holidays, or it will extend past into January, and there's not really a stepping down. But that's just for me, probably. Setting goals for the new year. That's always good. I don't necessarily think you have to wait for the year. That's been my take on things. I'm not a big New Year's resolution person. If I start something today, the year of that day ends next December 4th. So I don't really have to wait for a new year if there's something you want to start doing. But give yourself permission to relax. Of course, be kind to yourself and get some rest over the holidays. We got so snooze letters. Yep, clever coming in with that. I agree in most cases, for sure. Let's move right along. What we have next is, we were talking about this earlier. Resources. So we're practicing practical resources here, some physical things. I know Ryan had talked about the Apple Pen Pro coming out or is out, so you can buy that and use with your iPad. But we've provided some options for your pen tool of choice. The Sonar Pen 2 is a there's no charging for this thing, but it does have a USB tether. Let's see if I can find this. It's an Apple Pencil alternative, connects to USB-C. It's a Kickstarter project though. and it's discounted to around $32, I think, right now with the Kickstarter. Full retail price expecting to be closer to $45. Estimated shipping starts in as early as April 2025. Doesn't mean it will be out by April 2025, but I don't know. It's an option. I don't know if the tether would be a deal breaker for me, even if it's no battery. I like the idea of just picking up and going and not having to charge or worry about is it charged. But would the tether be a deal breaker? What do you guys think? Let me know in chat. And we're going to move on to our next pen alternative. This one I almost purchased a couple years ago. Not this version, but there was a different version. This is the Logitech Crayon. You can get it for, I think, $53 right now on Amazon. It has tilt capabilities. The smart tip will adjust line weight automatically to the needed thickness or thin size. Connects instantly. There's no delay in pairing or connecting. Charges via USB-C. I did not get it. I don't know how it works. I don't know how either one of these work. I don't know if they're any good or not. But they are options to the pen tool. Yeah, Bruce is saying wireless. I think the tether on this one would kind of just do me in. I don't know. But yeah, those are some options there. So moving on to Miami Art Week. If anybody's going to Miami Art Week or experiencing any of this, let me know. I'm just going to run through this quickly. Miami Art Week goes from December 2nd through the 8th. Let's see. Valentina from Hyperallergic. There we go. Walks through some of the most need to know for Miami Art Week. She basically goes through all the art fairs that are here. There's an Art Basel Miami Beach, a New Art Dealers Alliance, and Ink Miami. Those are all fairs that are happening. There's also a rundown on some of the exhibitions like Jose Parla Homecoming, Billy Zangewa Field of Dreams, and Women Photographers Share Documentary Narratives. If anybody's going to that, let me know. If anybody's doing or attending this, let us know. Just thought I'd throw that in while we were going over it as a resource for the for the Miami Art Week. All right, time to move on to Font of the Week. Okay, this is the Font of the Week. And we've got COFO, which stands for Contrast Foundry. Pesca is the name of this font. This is over on Contrast Foundry's website, and it has like all of the rundown of this font. This was designed by Anna Korash, Krista Redovia, and Maria Deruli. Probably saying all of these wrong. I apologize. It is from Contrast Foundry, inspired by early 20th century industrial lettering. When creating it, they gathered historical photos and inscriptions found on airplanes and aviation equipment, as well as propaganda and advertising posters from the 20s through the 40s. When designing, their goal was to achieve extremes on both ends, the maximum width and weight for wide styles. For the wide style. There are a ton of styles. Oh, let me go back. Let me just show you this real quick. There are 144 style superfamily, and it is an Adobe font. So when you go over here to your presets, you have 144 options. And I wanted you to see what this looks like. So here, there's no preview. That's okay. But if we jump into a Photoshop, and we look at this list of presets. Now I know my head's in the way of some of these, but it's insane. Now all of these are, since it is a variable font, all of these you can create yourself. But to give these all as a preset blows my mind. And you can see how it works here. It starts slanted one way, gives you the thin, does all of that as you go through. And I'm going to jump back over on, get out of here, get into this. You can create all of these. It gives you slant width and weight options, which you can just play with the handles here and kind of move this up and down to make it thinner and thicker. You've probably all played around with this in over on fonts.adobe.com. But it's a lot of fun. I like this font. It's let's see. It says it features machine-inspired contours with almost rectangular ovals, wide horizontals, and tight spacing. Works well for projects that aim to convey strength, modernity, and mechanical feel. I think it's pretty nice. I really enjoyed kind of reading through all of this description and getting, it shows you what their thought process was, how they were doing some overlaps, the idea of their thin and thick. Really kind of cool. So that's our really fun. I thought it was fun anyway. Font of the week. Playfully utilitarian. Yes. I like that. When you want it to be playful, but yet utilitarian. What's up, SP Design? How's it going? I see you over there on YouTube. Let's jump into some hyperlinks. Let's do it. Okay, we have, this is kind of a fun project. I don't know what you would call this necessarily. Image underscore 0001. This was inspired by Ben Wallace. Between 2009 and 2012, iPhones had a built-in send to YouTube button in the Photos app. Many of these uploads kept their file names, creating a time capsule of raw, unedited moments from random lives. And then Ben Wallace kind of pointed this out, and then Riley Walls made a bot that crawled through YouTube and found 5 million of these videos. And you can watch them. You can watch them. Before we take a sneak peek, can you imagine how many of these were accidental uploads, possibly? How many of these were like, oh, this will be great, and they never watched it again? I am going to click this, and full disclaimer, I don't know what we're going to see. I'm going to click through it like I was a super indecisive on where I was going to stop if I had a remote. So let's see what happens. So we get all kinds of stuff. And these are all just random. Oh, also, I don't know how loud this is going to be, so it's just pretty wild. But you can find, you can go watch clips from people you probably don't know and what they uploaded between 2009 and 2012. Clickbait. Yeah. Uh-oh. Yeah. But we got out. I think we got out unscathed. I think we're okay. But we're going to go do a spotlight. Okay. This spotlight is for Dynamo. Dynamo showcases new serif typeface in an unconventional way. They created a children's book. Olivia Hingley from It's Nice That reported on this. The typeface is a contemporary reimagining of 17th century Dutch Baroque type. It has 4 weights optimized for text, which means, they could write a book and it would be readable. The story centers on a boy named Otto, whose frequent fits of rage trouble his parents. A mysterious fox appears, offering comfort, but the arrangement soon proves to be too good to be true. The book is illustrated by Hannah Robinson, a London-based designer. London-based illustrator. It looks pretty interesting. I like the illustration style on this. Let's see if we can open this image. No, didn't mean to do that. It's nicely, I think, nicely illustrated. It's very line heavy with points of color. From what I can tell, the font is readable. I mean, it looks good to me. That's kind of what you want. And it does showcase some of the font's usage throughout. Let's see. Yeah, writer and type designer Sam DeGroot said, "It's great to see that typeface in its natural habitat telling a story." So that's interesting. I hope, let's see, was there something? I hope I could see this being a thing, people doing this with their work. This one specifically, I think, because it is a body copy type font, being a really nice fit. Yeah, nicely done. You watched Auto Lesson? Oh, that's a different. That's a different thing altogether. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right. Well, the best rebrands of all times, and we're just going to keep this in Spotlight because this is just kind of talking about. There's a lot in this one. Tom May from the Creative Blog put together the best redesigns. And some of these you'll probably notice. I'm going to guess some of these you'll notice. There are some highlights in here, of course. We've got Kodak, which already that red, that orange, yellow, like you can almost kind of feel that branding. When I see it, I'm like, okay, I know it's coming. That was redesigned. Kodak apparently was founded in 1892. The rebrand introduced the distinctive Kodak K logo in the famous yellow and red color scheme. Definitely one, and I think they're talking about, you can't see it here. Let's see, can I click on this? Nope. Let's see if we can get the, okay, there, up in the corner, right here, you can see it. There's the K, where it's like the red block, and then the K that's happening there. That's what they're referring to as that K logo. One of the other highlights I thought too was, sorry Pepsi, we're going to skip past you, was the NASA rebrand. In Tom May's words, the NASA rebrand in 1975 centered around a minimalist futuristic logo nicknamed the Worm. I think because of the way this kind of crawls around. That's why they called it the Worm. Let's see, embodied NASA's innovative spirit. Now, NASA's this logo definitely is it's ingrained in my psyche. Like it's there. It's part of like nostalgia for me. I don't know why. I love the design. I love there's a design. I can't remember the design manual that's pretty popular amongst designers, but it's a big NASA one. Hey, what's up, Nate? How's it going? Just checking out chat real quick. But yeah, NASA's super big in my family as far as like, I would say inspiration. But there's also the meatball logo. If you're not familiar with the meatball, that's what this is. You may remember that. There's another write-up. This one by Garrick Webster, Meatball versus the Worm. It's a little bit of history between the two. I'll let you read that. You'll have to, I don't have, maybe I'll provide a link for that separately. But it's a lot of fun. There's tons of brands on here as well that kind of, some of them I remember like, oh yeah, that's what this used to look like. Oh, or this is what, this rebrand was. Of course, Apple's 1984, very popular. Champions League, FedEx, yes, with the little hidden, not so hidden arrow. I know a lot of people really enjoyed that one. But yeah, there's tons on here. I think the other one, this one, the Pantone one, is another call out because this was massive in 2006. It introduced the window, the kind of little window approach to their branding. It put the focus on the colors, which is their product. But it was a way to kind of use real photos and focus in on the elements they needed to focus on. It was really cool, and kind of, I guess, had a unique approach for the time. What would you guys think are some of the greatest rebrands of all time? Do you agree with some of these examples? We got Old Spice. Oatly, I'm not sure I was familiar with them enough for a rebrand to be impactful. Not the biggest fan of a lot of these. So definitely, what rebrands would you think about that might be impactful and or really, like, I remember the whole Coke, new Coke, classic Coke thing. That was a big thing for a while. But you know what's been big recently? The Jaguar issue. I think Ryan covered this. I know Office Hours covered this. Which, stick around for Office Hours coming up after this. Jaguar had a new rebrand video that did not show off any cars, but they now have a concept car. The controversial. Let's see. It was controversial. Oh yeah, the rebrand was controversial. Sparked a lot of conversation online. And this is their first concept car, the Type 00 concept car. It says it looks similar to other EVs, but yes and no. I think Jaguar said it will become electric only brand focused on luxury vehicles. What do you guys think? I'm not going to play this video. You guys can go check it out. It's the sum up the video essentially says, with all of this rebranding, they'll only get one shot to kind of rename, remark, rebrand, their whole thing. Because the argument has been it doesn't take from the strong history of Jaguar, and I do agree with that for the most part. But I don't necessarily think they have one shot, because someone else will come in and scoop them up or buy them and keep the name and reestablish whatever they need to. I don't think it will go away just because they, had a rebranding error along the way. But I like the car. I actually like the way it looks. Personally, I kind of think it definitely gears away. I think leans more towards muscle car / sports car versus just luxury brand. And I think that's kind of the hot take, is like, oh, they're not doing what they do. And I definitely see the danger in that. Let's see. It's giving Porsche vibes, Bruce. I agree with that completely. That was my first take. And at first I thought this blue and pink car were two different models. They're not. It's just slightly angled, but it just looks so much different in the other angle. Yeah, Cylon from Battlestar. I can see that for sure. But yeah, it's interesting to see where it goes. As far as the branding stuff with the lowercase a and trying to get you to say Jaguar, that doesn't bother me that much. I didn't think it was great. I thought it looked rather like more on the cheap side. I don't know why. I was trying to explore that the other day. But otherwise, we'll see where it goes. I don't think there is a lot. Unless they keep coming up with concept cars, because the thing with a concept car, it may not never get made, so they could release. It's kind of free. I feel like even with the video, this is just a hot take for me. Aston Martin vibes, yes, but the hot take for me is right now they probably can't do much wrong, because they've gotten a lot of people talking about it. The first video didn't even have a car in it. These are just concepts. There's no car. They could just release multiple concepts in this stage if they wanted to be like, here are other things, and then start to see who latches on to what, see where it goes. If I were them, I would embrace this time and do those things. I would really start to explore what are our options, and not necessarily like crowd, not like getting just crowd feedback for where you want to go, but at the same time, it's almost like free. It's a time for them to be free and have fun without real consequences, because I don't think any of this is in production. You know what I mean? But being a big company, it may be hard for them to to manage that kind of fun movement, because everything has to go through checklists and getting signed off on certain things. But anyway, I thought that was a fun bit of news, coming back to the rebrand, since they now have a concept for the first time. Clever wants their car to hover. I mean, you know, I don't know. I don't know what the exchange would be. Like, what do you get out of hovering? I'm not sure. Flying, that's a whole different thing. All right, so I'm going to kind of switch gears back to, I think this might be a hyperlink. I didn't really know where to place this, but I'm coming back to where we started. Let's call it a hyperlink. But oops, maybe it's actually a resource. Okay, so yeah, I think this is hyperlink / a resource. If you're not familiar with Tested, and you probably are, if you're familiar with Mythbusters, Tested is Adam Savage's YouTube. Well, Tested is the YouTube channel, but they've labeled it Adam Savage's Tested, where they used to test products, show off things, show how things are built. It's kind of morphed, which I really enjoy. It's kind of morphed into this one-day builds and, again, how products work, you know, a cool toy here. Let's do a cosplay here. You know, it kind of goes all over the place. It's really crafty and really creative. But the highlight for me in this time of year is I'm not a huge fan of gift guides. We talked a little bit about gift guides at the beginning. A lot of times they're all repeats of, if you ever go on YouTube looking for a gift guide, they're all repeats of each other. You'll see the same products over and over and over and over. But what Tested does, and I think a few other places do this, and I really like it, but I like Tested because they have a crew of people. And I'm going to play one of these to give you an idea. They do what is their favorite things of 2024. Now, this doesn't mean like, here's the products you need to buy. You know, here's a gift guide. It is just these individuals taking the time to explain to you something they found through this year that they really liked. Something, I mean, they may have thrifted it. You know, you may not even be able to get it anywhere, but they're just saying, here's something I really like. Sometimes it's tools, and they'll do like demos, like real easy demos of stuff. And it's a way to introduce me to things that I didn't know was out there, because, you know, this is an individual's take. But I source this for art books. They often have art books on here, and I'm going to play just the intro of this. This is Sean from Tested.
Hey, happy holidays. It's Sean from Tested here with our yearly favorite things. I've got an array of things from tools to toys. So we're gonna start simple. We're gonna go with books first. We always have some good books. So my book this year is actually kind of special because this is actually from a friend of mine, Michael Possert Jr. He was one of the special effects guys who worked on The Rocketeer, 1991 movie based on Dave Stevens' comic book. And it's got like it's set in 1938. It's got a great retro Art Deco aesthetic to it, and it has the very iconic rocket pack and helmet and flight suit that the lead character has. So Michael has written a book that documents the building and creation of the entire Rocketeer uniform and flight suit. So it's all a lot from his personal archives, his photos.
So yeah, I'm a big fan of this kind of thing where you get to see behind the scenes stuff. Like this page here, you get to see some concept sketches, all about that. I mean, these are all my personal interests, but I love that they break down these things and tell you a little bit about what's going on with the product, why they personally like it. I think he covers another book next. Oh wait, no, here he is talking about tools. So he's talking about some little, these are tools he uses for cleaning up 3D printing and that sort of stuff. But they all have these options that they don't repeat. They have some, and they also list the items if they are available. You can use this as a gift guide. This is Norm's favorite things, and he talks about an art book by Emerson Tung.
day job is an art director at id Software. He did the art lead on the Doom Eternal series. So been a big fan of his work. If you enjoy the look and aesthetic of like the demons and the robots in Doom, you'll see some of that shared design language in the creatures and characters he's put in this Tankhead book. It's called Tankhead because they're creatures with basically tanks as their bodies and their heads. They're
also, the amount of enthusiasm from other creators is more than enough for me to be excited about it. I mean, he kind of walks through some of this, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Let's see, did he go through? Yeah, he also has a kit book where he talks about Star Trek stuff. And we're probably going to get an ad if I skip too far down here. So I'll just hover over this. At the end, he talks about this toy, this Spider-Man toy, but then he talks about the case that you can buy out of the box that has lighting. So if you're looking for a display case of some sort, you've got all kinds of options there. And like I said, oh, this is pretty cool. Let me see if I'm going to get an ad. I probably will.
Absolutely worth it.
Oh, okay.
It can be a little bit addictive.
Okay.
So be warned. And finally,
so this next one, he talks about, and I'll just talk over it.
Some model making tools. This one
he's got a little kit.
You know, it's not new.
He's got a little kit for weathering your models.
Long time now,
and then he does a little, quick B-roll of how he uses it.
Really easy to use. To put,
just adding a little bit of weathering. I mean, it's simple little things, but these guys are model makers and they do this stuff all the time. There's a really, I can't remember who it was, but there was another section where the nice lady talks about all of her sanding equipment. I've never seen anybody cover a bunch of sanding equipment, and
for model making,
just take a look at it. I think there's like
to some proper
10 of these or so. I don't know. It looks like there's 8 of them. But they've had ones from last year, ones from previous years. So yeah, that's
model making desk.
It's just this one's pretty cool, a little desk lamp.
Of articulation.
Anyway, just wanted to let you know that was a little special spotlight for Tested. I think they have a new channel coming out. Let me see if they actually have a link for it. I don't want to get too much in the weeds here, but they're coming out with a new channel that I think is just the Tested team, so it's only going to be stuff from them. So keep an eye out for that. Let's see. Take a look at chat. Looks like an eye. I know that's what it looks like, Marcia. I thought when he had that on the table that's what we were going to get. I mean, it basically is. You're right. It's probably just the compounds are a little different. But I think that's going to be it for today. We're going to end on a positive note, and hopefully everyone, look at this. Look at this screen. There we go. Hopefully everyone got something out of this. I don't know exactly what more to add, because it is coming up to the holiday seasons. I know there's lots of stuff still planned on Behance. We've got a holiday week coming up next week, so definitely I will have one of the time slots. I think I know what I'm doing for it. I know I have it all planned out, but there's a lot of work to be done. So there'll be a holiday week next week. No, not next week. Sorry, we've got another full week of programming here. And I will have a video challenge for next week, then the holiday week. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Also, what's fun is Office Hours is coming up next. So stick around for that. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Ryan, for trusting me with your show. This might be the last time. I don't know. We'll find out. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.